Willie Simmons. Just quick updates as always. Please ensure that your lines are muted unless you are actively asking our coaches a question. Please also wait until you're called upon prior to asking your question. If you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom to get your question in the queue for our coaches. We'll begin things here with Alabama A&M head coach Connell Maynor. Thank you for your patience. All right, once again, welcome to all of our media participants and all of our head coaches on our SWAC football head coaches media session for Monday, November 21st. Just a quick update as it relates to SWAC championship game and the Western Division champion. Currently, as it stands, Prairie A&M has a 5-3 record. Southern has a 4-3 record in conference play. In the event that Southern defeats Grambling State in the upcoming Bayou Classic, the Jaguars would claim the Western Division crown by virtue of owning the head-to-head tiebreaker over Prairie View A&M. In the event that the Jaguars do not prevail in the Bayou Classic, the Prairie View A&M Panthers will be the Western Division representative by virtue of owning a 5-3 record in conference play. With that being said, as always, happy to be joined and to start the call off with Alabama A&M head coach Connell Maynor. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, we appreciate your time. If you could start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Texas Southern.
It was a good football game. We knew it would be. Coach McKinney is doing a super job there with those guys. He's really got that program headed in the right direction. Those guys played hard for 60 minutes, and they're competitive every week. It was a tough loss for those guys, and it was a good win for us. Last year we beat them, I think, 52-49 or something like that, and we had to go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and goal from the 1 with like 40 seconds left in the game, and we was able to execute that and win the game. And this game, Came down to a fourth quarter game, and we had a 4th and 1, and we was able to break a tackle and run there for a touchdown. So very easily, last 2 years, they could have very easily beat us. Coach McKinney's doing a great job. Got to take your hats off to those guys. But, my guys never quit. We never quit. We was down 21-3 in the fourth quarter and didn't look good. But the guys just kept fighting, man. And we was able to score 3 touchdowns. And again, we scored a late touchdown to go ahead. And they got it back with maybe 30 seconds or so, 50 seconds, and wasn't able to score. So we was able to hold on senior day and send these seniors out with a W.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Maynor. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. You talk about your team fighting back. They literally was a play away maybe from being down 26, 27, 28 to 10 in regards to what was going on in that match. And they fought back all the way to that 4th and 1 play that ultimately led to the touchdown. Talk about Donovan Eaglin, 120 yards on 20 carries, about his play during that game.
Yeah, Eaglin played good again. We was able to run the ball well against these guys. We just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. We turned the ball over in the red zone. We threw interceptions in the red zone. We threw 2 interceptions in the red zone, and we fumbled 1 in the red zone. So we was moving the ball. We had success running the ball and moving the ball. We just get in the red zone and kept shooting ourselves in the foot. So, halftime, I just told the guys, they haven't stopped us. We're stopping ourselves. And so if we go out and execute the way we've been executing and just take care of the ball when we get in the red zone, we should be fine. And that's what we did in the fourth quarter. We didn't turn the ball over. We didn't make any mistakes, and we was able to score. But again, as you said, it was 21-10, and Body broke a run. And as he was just about to go across the goal line, he started to switch the ball, and Drayton Terry reached around and knocked the ball out, and it went through the end zone. And that gave us a new life. If he scored that touchdown, the game was probably over with. And so right after that, we went down and scored, and now all the defense had to do was stop them, and we got another score. So that was a huge, huge play in the football game, Body, and he got hurt on that play. So he couldn't come back in the last possession also.
Yeah, great point when you break it down in that. Talk a little bit about what a victory like this can do. Obviously, sending the seniors out on a very positive note, but the momentum it takes in terms of the offseason to end on a more positive note versus obviously the alternative. What are the plans in the offseason to come back to lead the program already for 2023?
Well, first of all, it was a huge win because we won it. We sent the seniors out. But the way we won it, coming back from behind, being down the whole game, all the guys that's going to return next year understand now that the game is not over and you got to keep playing for 60 minutes and we can always come back and still win the football game. So that's going to be huge for our confidence in the future, that knowing that we can come back and win a game when we're not playing our best and just keep fighting for 60 minutes. But the plan for the program is always the same. I tell my guys all the time, your job is to keep your job. My job is to replace you. So we got to replace these seniors. And then we got to evaluate all the other guys that's on the football program too, and see who's the fit for us and go forward and get these guys replaced and take a good, strong look at ourselves, coaches wise, and what we're doing and what we need to do, and get this thing back turned around and head back in the right direction.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the off season, particularly around signing day. Hope to catch up with you. Take care and enjoy your holidays.
All right, you too, man.
Next question goes to the Yard HBCU Sports.
I'm sorry about that, Coach. Had a brief technical difficulty. How are you this morning, Coach?
Good. I'm fine.
All right. One question for you. What is the one word that best describes your season and why?
I would say disappointment, and the reason why is because we had high aspirations for the season, and we want to always be right there in the mix of winning outside and playing for a SWAC championship. And we wasn't there this year, and we didn't get it done. Didn't get off to a good start, of course. We played some FBS and a good Austin P team and a very good FAMU team to get us started off 0-4, which we knew was a possibility that could happen, and it did. But we didn't quit. We came back and won our next 3 games. But then we fell short at Alabama State and then Mississippi Valley, and then, of course, Jackson. And then we finished it out with a W. So, if you look at it, we're 4-4 in the conference. That's probably right there in the middle of the pack. It's probably only going to be a couple of teams, probably 4 teams with better conference records than us. So if you look at it from that standpoint, we're right there in the middle echelon of the conference. But when you look at the overall record, our overall record is not good because, again, of the strength of schedule that we play. So, we played 3 cupcakes first 3 games. We 7-4, but we didn't do that. So it is what it is. And, HBCUs, we have bills, man. We're going to have a new turf come next season. We're going to work on some practice facilities, a team room, a weight room. We're going to renovate the Elmore Gymnasium, make it football. And so in order to do those things, you got to have money. And so we play money games so we can upgrade our facilities and make us competitive in the long run.
Well, Coach, you kind of touched on it, and I think I want to go ahead and have you elaborate on that a little bit more as it pertains to how you – I'll only ask this of you because you only know how you guys do it there at Alabama A&M. What is the process that you guys go through in terms of scheduling out-opponent conference games? And you said that, of course, you guys kind of lean towards doing more money games, but and I guess I understand why. Like you said, you need the money in order to build your program. But can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, well, me and the AD have the final decision on who we play. Now we're not going to play 2 money games anymore. We're only going to play 1 money game per year. Next year we got Vanderbilt. The year after that we got Auburn, and so those are going to be our only 2 money games in the next 2 years. So what we want to do is we want to try to just maybe keep one money game. If we can play an SEC opponent, that'd be great every year. But just keep one of those because we don't want to get our guys banged up, our star players banged up, and now we can't win the SWAC or compete for the SWAC. But we also want to have the opportunity to do stipends and upgrade our facilities and help offset some of the costs it costs to run a football program. So it's kind of catch-22. But it is what it is. It's what you get at HBCU. We just don't have the resources and funding that the FBS schools have.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. And good luck during the off season. And hopefully I'll get a chance to see you next year.
Thank you. God bless.
We've got time for one final question for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Any final questions for Coach? Coach Maynor, we sincerely appreciate your time each Monday this season on these calls, and we look forward to catching up with you at SWAC Football Media Day.
There it is. All right, man. Thank y'all. Thanks for having me, and good luck to everybody. And happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Next up, we go to Alabama State. Head coach Eddie Robinson Jr. You see, we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, obviously no game this past week for the Hornets as you prepare for the Turkey Day Classic there in Montgomery. But if you could just kind of start us out recapping this past week.
Yeah, this past week, we spent a lot of time, of course, focusing on academics, trying to make sure that the young men are, getting ready for finals, which are, coming up next week and the week after. So that was the biggest part of it. Of course, definitely had a couple practice days in, got everybody healthy on the same page and started looking at Pine Bluff to get a head start. So that way the week didn't seem like a short week. So we had a, good practice yesterday and kind of got into a regular workflow.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to IC Morrell.
Coach Robinson, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
All right. Look, I was looking at your stats, and it looks like you all have committed to running by committee and playing quarterback by committee. Your top three guys combined to run for almost 100 yards a game, and then you run sort of a two-quarterback system. Coach, just elaborate a little bit on your philosophy behind that and how that's worked out for you.
Yeah, I think the running back by committee was by design. I feel like we have three talented guys, all of them a little bit different. How Corey Murray was the returner from last year, and then Santo Dunn was a one-year transfer kid who's been pretty dynamic on special teams and running the football. And I think the quarterback by committee was just more or less due to injuries with D. Davis. He was a projected starter going into the year. But Miles Crowley has just had a great attitude. Every time we put him in there, he plays hard. Gives me his best and stays in tune. So we look at him as almost like a 1A guy. For the most part, D. Davis has been the guy, but when he's been banged up, Miles has been able to step in and play well.
Yeah. Coach, let me ask you this, and I'm not sure how much you get to choose the opponent or anything, but pretty interesting that you chose Arkansas Pine Bluff this year as your Turkey Day opponent. What kind of led to that you know of?
Yeah, well, usually it's this is the 98 Turkey Day Classic. I didn't talk about that in my intro, but, for us, that's a huge game. Me being an alumnus here, it's always traditionally we play Tuskegee and we have a parade. The whole city of Montgomery gets into it. So it's a great time for us to showcase the school and everything. But the contract with Tuskegee wasn't inked for the last couple of years. And so we'll be playing them the next 3 years, starting next year. And so we needed an opponent to play, and it just kind of worked out with Pine Bluff. We was able to move that game, which would have been this previous Saturday, and move it back to Turkey Day. So they kind of helped us out with that. So it was good, and so that's usually we don't play a SWAC school, but it just so happens that it'll be Pine Bluff this year. So.
All right, Coach. Thanks very much.
Yep.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. Around this time last year, you were named head coach at Alabama State. What's this full calendar year been like for you, going from being named coach to this point of the season right now?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. I started looking at all of my notes that I took from last year. I'm more of a guy that I like to go to my coffee shop and spend a little time there and spend an hour or two just kind of reflecting and writing down things. So I went back and looked at all the things that I thought I knew and got a lot of them wrong. And so it'll be good because now I can kind of try to correct those mistakes, me and the staff, and going into this year, we have a little bit more knowledge. So it was definitely a learning curve. And so something that I knew would be that fact, no matter if you start something new, it's always going to be that learning curve. So it was definitely some things that I expected. A lot of things just kind of came out of left field. So definitely, I feel like we'll be better as a staff next year, hopefully better as a team, and we can compete, a little bit more aggressively towards that SWAC East championship and hopefully a SWAC championship. But it was definitely been a learning curve, but it's been a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyable, some big wins and some tough losses. But as we know, that's how it goes.
Right, and as a follow-up to that, Coach, what's the biggest lesson you think you learned this season, transitioning from being out of football to being a head coach?
Probably just relationships. I think, my coach, Coach Markham, it was more of you're going to get it done or else. And I think now it's with kids these days, Generation Z guys, you got to have a relationship with them. You can work them hard, but if you build a relationship first, and they'll be more receptive to the hard work that you have to put in to be a winning team. And so I think you just have to build relationships on all levels. The kids you're recruiting, the kids you have here, the kids that are good that you don't want to get into the transfer portal. So it's all about relationships with the kids. And if you show them that you care about them and love them, then I think they'll play hard for you. And so that's the biggest thing that I think is even more important now than it was, some 20, 30 years ago.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Yep.
Next question goes to the Yard HBCU Sports.
Good morning, Coach. This is Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports. How are you?
Going well. How's it going?
I'm doing good, Coach. You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier in terms of you reflecting on your past year. What is the one word that would use to describe it and why?
That's the one word answer. That a tough. I would say fulfilling, just because of the excitement of being on the sideline, of leading the D1 program, leading your alma mater, competing against other coaches in the SWAC. You know, Coach Maynor, those guys, Simmons, all those guys, just competing against those guys. And I guess for me, it was just wondering if we were going to be good enough, if we brought in enough talent to be good enough, because you just don't know. You go out there and prepare and you think you're ready, but you don't know till the game starts. And so, and we'll do the same thing this year. We'll bring in some more talent. We'll get the guys that we have ready to play, and then we'll go out there and you're hoping that it's good enough. But to me, every football season you go into, you can plan to win the championship. That's the goal. You think you got enough people in place, but you don't know until you start, running plays and get out there against competing against the other teams. So I think fulfilling would be a good answer. But as always, you want to do a little bit more, and I feel like we could have did a little better, but we probably ended up where we were supposed to be.
Well, you talk about fulfillment, and just a quick follow-up question. You guys are one win away from tying your best record there at Alabama State since 2014. Can you reflect on that a little bit?
Well, I haven't really gotten to that because we still have a game. So I'm more focused on Pine Bluff than to get into full reflection mode. So probably next Saturday we can have that conversation. So right now we're just trying to win more and more games and get the seniors to go out on a high note. Turkey Day Classic is a huge game for us, and Pine Bluff, they have some talented guys. Coach Treadwell have them ready to play. 33, the running back, he's probably one of the best in the conference. So I think for right now, it's like I'm not just really in that mode just yet. And so it's more or less just trying to get one more W if we can.
Well, I do apologize for forcing you to get into that mode, but thanks for answering the questions. Good luck this Thursday. Have a blessed Thanksgiving, and hopefully I'll see you in the near future.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Keith Hadley.
Thank you very much. Coach, could you give us the perspective of what was it like going from being a player, alumni, to then being the coach at your alma mater?
Yeah, I think, all of the coaches in the conference, Coach McNair, he's coaching his alma mater, but I think if everybody, if you love your school the way I love Alabama State, I think everybody would love to have the opportunity to go back to their alma mater and be the head coach. So I think it's a blessing, first of all. Very thankful for the opportunity. I don't take it lightly. It makes me want to work hard every day and not to disappoint everybody, and to try to make all the alumni and the people who trusted me with this opportunity, to not let them down, to make them proud. So. And then Coach Markham's my guy. He's deceased now, but I see his picture. I'm in the building that's named after him. So, I just think it's one of those things where you just want to work hard enough to make those people who trusted in you proud, and just to live up to the tradition that we have, and try to win some big games and win championships. So I think that's where I'm at.
Last question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach. Keisha Kelly, Black College Experience. How are you?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Good. Now, I'm not going to ask nothing about football. I'm going to ask you, are you going to eat some good food before that game on y'all playing this week?
Yeah, absolutely. We have one of my former classmates. She has a soul food kitchen that's probably walking distance from the complex. So she does a lot of cooking for the team. And so she's going to do all the cooking for me and my family. So she does a great job. And she fries the catfish hard, just like I like it.
All right, y'all have a happy Thanksgiving, Coach.
I appreciate it.
Coach Robinson, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each Monday this season, and we look forward to catching up with you at SWAC Football Media Day.
Absolutely. Thank you, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thanks, Coach. We now go to Alcorn State. Head coach Fred McNair. I do see we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we sincerely appreciate your time. If you could, please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Jackson State.
Oh, man, I thought that it was a great Saturday for football. The weather was good. Great crowd here at home. Felt like it's a great football team in Jackson State. I think Coach Sanders had those guys more than ready to play. here in a hostile environment. We just fell short of the game. You know, started off, we fought very hard, offense and defensively in the first quarter. Been a 3-0 ball game, second quarter. You know, we competed. We had 2 costly mistakes that cost us. I think the sack fumble, we cut an end just loose on a play. Then we had a pick 6 by Travis Hunter. And he made a heck of a catch on the sideline down in the end zone to get them the 24-13 lead. So I thought our defense played very hard. Got good pressure on the quarterback, as we expected. Offense trained themselves in situations. Thought the special team played exceptionally well. They give up no big plays on special teams. Kiani kicked 2 field goals for us there. Overall, I'm proud of the effort that these young men gave throughout this year. It's been a seesaw battle for us. Definitely not expecting what we wanted to be in terms of the wins and losses. We lost some games that cost the turnovers. We got to get better in that area, not turn the ball over. Other than that, we in the thick of things in terms of what we need to be at the end of the season, but not really expected this in terms of a coach where we at right now. So we just got to get back on the recruiting board and see what we can find and come out and help this program win. You know, it's all about winning. Got to find the right players to fit, and had a lot of recruits on campus on Saturday. I was glad to see that. We reaching out to guys that want to be here at Alcorn State University. But you know, we got to help ourselves too in terms of the upgrade of things that we need to do, because kids like to see stuff. They love to see stuff, and we got to get better at that. So and build a relationship with these players to come here at Alcorn State University.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach McNair. First question goes to Zach McKinnell.
Zach McKinney from the Blue Bloods. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good, man.
So this weekend, Malachi Bailey had a huge game for your front 7, 2.5 sacks, multiple tackles for loss. Can you speak about his performance and just overall what you thought about the front 7 getting to Shador 5 times this weekend?
Unbelievable, man. It's nothing they haven't been doing all year, man. They really put on a great performance. The front 7 did in terms of what we need to do to get Shador off his platform. You know, thought we got him off his platform and did those things that we need to do up front. And at the linebacker position, we'll have a real good chance of making him do some things he not normally do, is turn the ball over. So I thought our guys played very hard up front with a lot of effort. Malachi Bailey, he's a machine at work, man. He's the same way at practice. So excellent job rushing the passer and get to the quarterback for him. So they Coach Bradley and Coach Robertson that side of the ball. They do a very good job with the front 7 in terms of what we need to do to put pressure on quarterbacks and to get them off their platform. But excellent job defensive, strained themselves. Had a couple big plays that caught passes on us. But other than that, you know, they played with a lot of effort and played hard.
And one of the biggest transfers to you guys this year was Jarvion Howard. Finishes the season leading the SWAC in rushing yards. Can you speak to a little bit about his development throughout the year and what you're expecting from him going into next season?
I mean, I nothing but big things next season, man. We just got to get better up front and create some more lanes for him to run. And that's going to be our biggest thing that we're going to address the offseason. We got to find some machines up front to kind of complement him and things that he does so well is rush the ball. We just got to get better up front with our front guys and open up some holes for him, you know. Same way with the other running backs as well, Nico Duffy and Leatherwood. You know, we got to get on the recruiting trail and get some better guys that's going to come in and move people around for us. So that's one of the positions that we're really going to address during this offseason. Mid-year signing as well. So got to get better up front.
I appreciate you, Coach.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach McNair. How are you doing?
Good morning.
I wanted to ask, although Travis Hunter did make some plays on defense, you guys did not shy away from going at him in that game. Did the coverage dictate that you go to that side, or how exactly did you all game plan going against the Jackson State defense?
I guess the quarterback, did a really good job of doing the things that we asked him to do during the course of practice. They played a single high safety for the most part of the first half. We started hitting them on some long passes and we make some plays. The biggest thing was, just give our guys a chance to catch the ball as a quarterback, And I thought that Trey did a great job of giving us a chance to make plays, whether it's on Hunter, whether it's on Shiloh, or whatever corner they had out there, It's just opportunity to make some plays. It's just the opportunity presented himself to where the coverage dictated where the pass was going to go. So I thought that we found the thing that were the quarterback made the right reads, except on the pick six that he threw to Hunter for the 44-yard interception return. I think that was a costly mistakes, and which he should have went to the opposite side because the safety did exactly what we expected him to do. But he threw it to the strong side where they rolled up on. So that mistake and the offensive line sliding fully, turning the defensive end loose to cause the sack fumble. But I'm taking anything away from the defense. The defense is solid. Aubrey Miller played a heck of a ball game. Real physical guy. I think what they did, Coach Thurman had them ready to play, and they played a solid ball game up front. So, but Javion still was able to break the 100-yard mark again. So, those things like that, it happened. So we just fell short.
Sure thing. Appreciate that, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Bill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach McNair.
Good morning.
Yeah, you talk about the receivers catch the ball early on. You talked about the fumbles all season, but in regards to the injuries, the factors that they play in the game, obviously football is a physical game and they happen. But when they happen to key starters, it can make things challenging. But your team continued to fight. In terms of those big plays, receptions, Montario Hunt had 109 yards just on 4 catches. Talk about his play this past weekend.
Pretty excellent. That's what we've been expecting out of Montario the whole year. He came ready to play. He's been banged up with his ankle, with his hamstring, so he muscled it out to where he can play this ball game. And I thought that he did a really good job of high pointing the ball when it was thrown to him. Made some great plays downfield. Those are things that he's capable of doing. We just got to get a quarterback time to make those plays, make those throws in terms of what he can do. So he had 4 catches for 108 yards. I thought that was good in terms of his outing. I wish we could have had him some more in terms of what we needed to get done in those situations. So, banged up or not, we still got to play a physical ball game. That's our expectation, to come out and play physical every year, But like I said, Coach Sanders had those guys ready to play. They played physical, man. It was a physical ball game. And we knew that coming into it. How physical it's gonna be is just who's gonna make the most plays is gonna win the ball game. And I think they did. They made 2 more plays bigger than we did.
Follow-up question in terms of Aaron Allen getting injured. Obviously, grad transfer, the late part of the season. Is it anyway with the new NCAA rules or stuff like that? Is it possible for a medical redshirt, or is it just too late in the season to think about
that? Look at it in terms of the games that he played in and all that kind of stuff. So don't know if it was too late or not, but it's something that we definitely gonna look into with him being injured. But something we can look at. He have another year of eligibility left, but if we can get another medical redshirt year, we'll be more than happy to have that too. But that's another position that we're going to address during off season at the quarterback position. So we got to bring some guys in that can run, dual threat guys. Those guys can run, but you just need that definitely guy that we've been having in the past as quarterbacks. The John Gibbs, the Lawrence Footman, the Noah Johnson, the Peter Sharper type guys that can move around in the pocket a little bit more than what these guys can do. But not taking anything away from these guys. They've done an excellent job throughout this season, coming in and playing. Allen came in just in January. Well, actually, it was February when he came in and getting the system down, and then we had a quarterback to leave right after the Tulane game. So that kind of hurts a little bit. Put Trey in a position where he had to be ready to play. He did a great job at Prairie View, coming in first start. He wins. But, we just got to continue to get better at that position.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this off season. Look forward to signing day and hope you have a good holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You too.
All right, we're going to try to get one final quick question in from Jeff Lightsey Jr.
Hey, Coach, just one question. You addressed recruiting a little bit about the offseason, but what would you say, just after 11-game season, is your biggest position or group that you want to address during the offseason coming into 2023?
Well, we got several things we got to address, both sides of the ball. And the biggest thing I think is the up front on the offensive line part. We got to get some more guys in. We're losing a lot of guys up there. So we just got to address that position first. And of course, the quarterback position. We got some position at the corner position that we need to address as well. So we still got to get better across the board. So we're going to try to find those guys in all those spots in all positions that we can get better and be more competitive next year.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach McNair, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each Monday, and we look forward to speaking with you at SWAC Football Media Day.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Bethune-Cookman. Head coach Terry Sims. We have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach Sims, as always, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls. If you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Florida A&M.
Well, obviously not the outcome that we wanted. I thought the game was what we thought it would be early on. We had a couple of turnovers in the second quarter that kind of put us behind the sticks, but put us behind on the scoreboard. But our guys kept fighting. We were down at halftime. We came back out, made it a 27-20 game. We ended up, both teams got an extra point blocked, but we ended up getting it to 27-20. And then it seems like the wheels came off. They had a fake punt that put them in great field position to score. And, again, not to take anything from Coach Simmons and their team, they came ready to play and not knocking our guys. I thought we played well. We just we made some key mistakes in key moments. We had a offsides on a third and long, or third and short, and it ended up being third and long after that, and we had to end up punting the ball and not able to go for it on fourth down because the yardage was too long. But again, foolish penalties in key situations, and they made the plays they were supposed to make, and we came up short on 2 or 3 of them. So when you play a team of that caliber, you can't do that.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Sims. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. As you were breaking down the game, one of the things I noticed in the game is, which happened much of the season for whatever reason, is the fact that you gotten down in several games, including this game. You get down 27-7, but your team continues to fight, and you fight back to make it a single score game. Obviously, put up 14 points for the end, where you get the separation at the end. Talk the resiliency of your team, even including obviously the things side of the field that happened to them during the season.
Well, I think, anyone knows, and anytime I talk about this football team, I say the same thing about this program. Being displaced for 3 weeks, you find out a lot about people. And this group is resilient, trying to figure out where to practice, where to eat, where to meet. It's a lot of different things going on with that. But these guys continue to play, and they enjoy playing the game for and with each other. they came to work every day and prepared. I just think, though, we had little moments here and there where there was a lack of focus or, just a guy not finishing an assignment, not finishing a block, not carrying through. We had a tackle for a loss, and one of our guys thought that he was down. He tackled the guy, and the running back kept going, which was a similar play that we had on them a few years back where we scored. Larry Brim scored, and on a touchdown. So things happen. In this group, I still am proud of them because we could have folded the tent and quit a long time ago. But they didn't. They continued to play week in and week out, and that's something that we'll build on for the near future here.
Talking about the near future, if you get into the off season, where are some areas of needs that you want to get done, particularly to get the team moving in the right direction?
Well, we have to address the offensive line, number one. We were depleted this year, had a lot of guys hurt, but we have to go and make sure that we address the offensive line situation and our linebacker situation. Those are two key areas that we have to address early on in recruiting, and we will. We'll address those areas, right now, and make sure we get guys in here that will be able to not just add depth. We're going to recruit starters, guys that'll come in and be able to make some things happen for us. So that's what we want to do first and foremost, and we'll build from there. We have some things we have to do in-house, and we'll get those taken care of and move forward.
Thank you, Coach Sims. Look forward to the offseason, particularly around signing day, to catch up with you and talk a little more football.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash with the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
I'm great. And you?
I'm doing good. Just a quick question. What is the one word that will best describe your season and why?
I think we just talked about it with Doc. Resilience. Resilient is our word. We never quit. These guys didn't quit. We could have, again, folded the tent and packed everything in, and it could have been ugly week in and week out. But it wasn't that way because these guys continue to play. Our equipment folks, our video folks, trainers, everyone continue to pour into this team and work hard to try and make things work for us.
Now, I know that your program has gone through some things this season, but at the end of the day, the result of the season is very similar to your first in the SWAC, and it's most definitely not something that you or your program is enjoying at this moment. Would you still say that you're still transitioning over into SWAC play as of right now and making adjustments, or what is it that you believe that you need to do in order to get back to what people remember, especially there in Wildcat Nation, and things of what they're used to seeing you do?
We just have to finish. I don't think it's a point of us still transitioning to the league because we played SWAC teams year in and year out. I think with us, it's just finishing. We've had some unfortunate moments in this program and things that have, been a little bit quirky for us, but those are not excuses. We have to finish, and those things that we will do, we will finish. We will continue to compete, and we'll get the ball to bounce our way here in the very, very near future.
All right. Thanks for your time this season, Coach. Have a blessed holiday and look forward to seeing you next season.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. We'll try to get a few more questions in here quickly. First one goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach. I hope you and the fellas are well. Talk a little bit about Kamari Averett, prototype. The gentleman I saw on Saturday, he looks like a guy who can play on Sundays. But tell us a little bit about Mr. Averett.
Ultimate competitor. He practices the way he plays. A guy with a lot of energy, a guy that's not just a vocal leader, he's a leader by example. It was, a breath of fresh air coming into this program. He understands what it takes, and, he's continuing on and off the field just to work with a lot of our younger players. So definitely was happy to have him around, proud to have him part of this program. Sad to see him go, and not just football-wise, just for his presence. and I think he has a very, very bright future ahead of him.
Coach, in terms of guys who graduate and get degrees, you champion that every year with your program. Talk a little bit about the opportunity guys have and guys are graduating and moving forward.
Well, I think that's the most important thing. And we all, we all understand the football part, but you have to make education important. And with our guys, we're not a 12-hour program. Each guy will never take less than 15 hours. And we don't say you take 15 hours in case you have to drop one. We take 15 hours to take 15 hours. A lot of guys take 18 hours around here because we want to be in a position to graduate and still have eligibility there. And that's one thing that I always talk to them about. They can't take your degree away from you. Once you master that and you have your degree in hand, it's yours. And you need to be excited about it. You need to be serious about it. And we make sure that they focus on academics as much as they do athletics. We treat class attendance, we treat study hall, we treat study group just like we do practice and games. If you're not going to make it that important, then this is the wrong place for you.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed holiday week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ken Rashad.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. I want to talk to you just a little bit about recruiting, as you alluded earlier, as you head into the offseason. With the transfer portal having such an impact since it was introduced, how much will you rely upon it versus the more traditional method of recruiting high school players, in the offseason? Do you weigh one versus the other, or how impactful will the transfer portal have for you?
Well, I mean, we'll look into the portal, but you can't field your team through the transfer portal. You have to have guys that you can set and have an actual nucleus of your football team from guys that you bring in that start with your program. When you try and have a quick fix, and we had 3 or 4 guys this year that we signed late. We got out of the portal. But like I told my staff, there's a reason that a lot of those guys are in the portal. So you have to be careful. You have to do your homework, make sure all your research is done on those guys.
Appreciate it, Coach.
We'll take one final quick question from Keith Hadley.
How's it going, Coach? Great to see you again. I was at the press conference, and I noticed when your quarterback, Jalen Jones, left, he said, "Hail Wildcats." And the way he said it had a bit of defiance, and it kind of took over the room. Could you speak to that kind of energy and that fight that he showed? Because as a Rattler, I loved it because, you love to see that defiance in a player. But could you speak to that?
Well, I'll say this, and our guys have pride. They bleed maroon and gold, and that's just something that you get when you come to this program. And our guys understand the seriousness of it, and they're not going to ever tuck their tails and drop their heads. We're not that type of program. We never have been, and we never will be. So the way he said that was the way that we say it all the time. And there are a few things that we always do before we start anything and after we finish everything. Number one is we start in everything with prayer. And you give thanks not only just to God, but to our founder. We talk about that. These young men need to know why they're here, why they have the opportunity to be here. We're not just teaching them football. And I tell them that, and I tell every parent that. If all I teach you while you're here is football, then I'm wrong. So we're talking to our guys about being proud of who you are and where you come from. And that's just what it was. He's proud to be here. He's had a long journey. He's been at some other programs, but he has found a home here.
Coach Sims, we sincerely appreciate your time each Monday on these calls, and we look forward to speaking with you at SWAC Football Media Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we go to Florida A&M. Head coach Willie Simmons. Have Coach there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Coach, I realize we're a few minutes behind schedule, so we do appreciate your patience. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Bethune-Cookman.
Well, I'll tell Coach Simmons I'm not going to hold it against him that he had us running over today. No, it was a really great game, great environment, 55,000+ fans down in Orlando. That's why we feel it's the greatest rivalry, in Black college and the greatest classic in all of college sports. But just a great day. Our guys really ended the season on a great note. Obviously, we didn't know it was going to be our last game. Hope that we would get an invite to the FCS playoffs, but being that it is, we sent our guys out the right way. Guys like Xavier Smith, Chris McDowell, even Isaiah Land, even though he didn't get to play the game, just to send those guys out as winners. They can say they won their last 9 games they have found. They, continue the trajectory that this program is on, and really is painting a bright future for our program. That's really what we wanted to do. And so just tip my hat to those guys. Again, tip my hat to Terry and the job that they've had to overcome this year in a hard-fought game. And but again, just happy for the guys.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Simmons. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Congratulations on season. I was, much like yourself, disappointed in terms of not being able to get the at-large bid to the playoffs. But I saw a video where you spoke to your fans, particularly, speaking about the great season, thanking them for their support, obviously, but the fact that you would make some moves or whatever to make sure that this doesn't happen again. I think that was a little bit about scheduling. Can you expound on that? And in that, is there a framework in terms of the Classic with Jackson State and FAMU? Will that game stay on that date in terms of Labor Day, or is there discussion to move it?
Well, the message to our fans was more about just thanking them for their support. And, me saying that this won't happen again, it really didn't speak to our scheduling methods. It spoke to, us as a program doing what needs to be done to ensure that we control our own destiny. And that's what the vision is here at Florida A&M. And so, as far as the scheduling goes, a lot of that stuff is done years in advance. And so we have a scheduling philosophy here. Don't know if we're in a position to change that as of today in the near future. We just got to control what we can control. And so as far as the Orange Blossom Classic, it's a game that we enjoy being a part of. There have been some discussions. There's one more year on the contract, I think, with Jackson State obligated to it. And then after that, we'll assess who the opponent will be moving forward. We want to keep the game. We want it to stay in the SWAC, but maybe look at some ways to where it's not, where it doesn't have conference ramifications that early in the season. So, but again, we'll definitely assess those things once our new AD, Tiffany Don Sykes, gets in and we're able to talk about the long-term vision for our program.
Back to the game, last question I have for you is closing out the season with Jared Musa in terms of the big game he had in a lot of ways, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, but solid in terms of spreading the ball around to different receivers, catching a touchdown on the play there, and just his maturation in terms of learning how you like to see the game played. Talk a little bit about what he was able to get done in that game.
Yeah, I thought Jeremy played his most complete game. We didn't have many snaps, probably the least number of snaps we had all season, but was 15 of 19. Missed a couple of throws there, but as far as his reads, was pretty spot on with his reads, with his timing. Missed a couple of throws high a little bit, but other than that, I thought he played a really, really sound game. Took a shot there on the big touchdown pass to Xavier in the ribs and had to come out for a series. But came in and gutted it out. And so just looking forward to his continued growth and development. The guys voted him as one of our team captains. And so he's definitely one of our unquestioned leaders of the team. The guys feel really good knowing that he's in there playing for him. He's a hard worker, smart young man, and his best football is ahead of him. So I think the future is very bright here with Jeremy Moose at the helm.
Thank you, Coach Simmons. Look, off season, enjoy your break. Hope to see you during signing day to talk to you a little bit about football as you move forward.
Thanks, Doc.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, how you doing this morning?
Hey, James.
Hey, pretty good. Back-to-back Florida Classic victories. Is it sinking in? What's the thought process? And when you walk past those two trophies, what do you see?
Well, it'll sink in on Thursday when I'm at the dinner table and my family's like giving me hell. So, that's when it really sinks in. But no, it's a great win. And we all know how important this game is. There's old saying that they'd rather go 0-10 and win the Classic than to go 10-0 and lose the Classic. So again, the fact that we're able to win it and have a great season on top of it, really just icing on the cake. So looks good seeing that trophy there, the trophy case in the lobby. And we feel that's what this is rightful place, and we want to do everything we can to make sure we keep it there.
Coach, on Saturday, it looked like I was covering a playoff team. To not advance to the playoffs, talk about the loss that is for the greater picture, for everyone else out there not to see FAMU play football.
Well, I think it's a slap in the face to all HBCUs, right? That we're all worthy team. We're, as of today, the 20th ranked team in the coaches poll. So the guys that coach football, that watch football, that vote on our teams feel that there are 19 teams in the country that have a stronger resume than we do. But the powers that be felt otherwise. And there's some teams that got in that were ranked higher than. There are a lot of teams that got in that we have a lot more wins than. So I think it's a slap in the face to all of us at this level, at the HBCU level. And hopefully that it resonates through our community and that we, speak up like we always have about injustice to our people.
Have a blessed day, Coach.
Thank you, James.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned how disappointed you were not to make the playoff. Is there anything that you would possibly be able to suggest changing about the way in which teams for the playoffs are determined and kind of like how they are weighed against each other?
Well, again, it's voted on by a selection committee. And so I think that's a question for the committee. Do they feel that it's okay to deny a 9-win team with 8 FCS wins and a loss to an undefeated top 5 team and another loss to a Power 5 team that'll play for a conference championship? If they feel that resume isn't strong enough to get into the playoffs, then I think that's a larger discussion. So it's not really on us to change it. We've done what we needed to do. People talking about changing our scheduling or, changing the Orange Blossom Classic and all those things. Well, that would mean that we're the problem, right? We're not the problem. We won 9 games. We did what we needed to do on the football field. I think the problem is the way the committees vets teams and what they consider to be strong points and what they consider to be weak points. And I've always thought that what you do at the end of the season has merit. And the fact that there are 2 teams in the field that both have 4 conference losses and both have lost half of their last ball games, I think that's problematic.
I know it's not lost on you, Coach, that this happened to you when you were coaching at Prairie View. You thought you had a team that was good enough to make the playoffs and didn't make it. Knowing that and you saying that you felt like this was an injustice, do you honestly believe that the FCS Selection Committee or the NCAA as a whole does not respect HBCU football?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that they don't respect it. I'm just going to point to the facts. The facts are that in 2015, we had a football team that had 8 official wins. They took 1 win away from us. They had the nation's top scoring offense. They had one of the nation's most dynamic players who got left out of the field. And then you fast forward to 2019, a South Carolina State team that lost a game to FAMU, who finished the season ranked in the top 25, and North Carolina A&T, who finished the season ranked in the top 25, and to Clemson, who played for a national title. They didn't get in either, with 8 FCS wins. And then you look at FAMU this year with 8 FCS wins as well, a loss to a top 5 Jackson State team, and a loss to a North Carolina team that will play in the ACC championship. And those were the first 2 games of the season to not get in. Again, I see a pattern, right? And so, I'm just a fact finder. I'm a guy that points out facts. Those are the facts. And so whatever we deduce from those facts, that's subjective. But I do think that there's something wrong with the system if those 3 teams aren't worthy of playing in the 2014 playoff field.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Goes to Jeff.
Hey, Coach Simmons, Jeff Lighty Jr. How are you?
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
I'm good. So I just want to ask you, I'm just curious on how you think. Do you believe that the fact that the MEAC champion, the SWAC champion go into the Celebration Bowl may hurt the conference's chances of a team that doesn't make the Celebration Bowl getting into the FCS playoffs? I know it benefits the Celebration Bowl, benefits the conferences, but do you think a team like yours is hurt because the SWAC and the MEAC opt to go to something else besides the playoff?
Are we eligible to go?
Yeah, you are.
That's all that needs to be said. We're eligible to go. So if it hurts us, then that's a personal decision because we're eligible to go. The Ivies aren't eligible. So there's some Ivy League teams that are undefeated or 10-1, 9-0, 9 whatever. They're not eligible to go because their conference decided they're not going to go to the playoffs. The MEAC or the SWAC has never said their teams will not go to the playoffs. We've said our conference champions won't go to the playoffs. But any other team is eligible as members of the FCS, and we still have that agreement. So if it hurts us, it's not our decision. It's not us that hurts it. We still can go. We're eligible.
Absolutely. And just a quick follow-up on that, I want to ask you about Xavier Smith. Just his game, the MVP of the Florida Classic, and then also just his career at FAMU. Just what has he meant to your coaching staff, your team, your school, your program throughout his career?
Well, Xavier Smith is one of the all-time greats at FAMU, and we've had many. I don't think the brevity of his career will be understood today. I think we'll look back on it years from now and see where he ranks in that pantheon. He's one of the top receivers ever played, here at FAMU. I think he's one of the top football players that ever played here at FAMU. And what he's meant to this program on and off the field, words can't describe. So special player. Glad he came back this last year, and really going to miss him in this program.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach Simmons?
I'm good, Charles. I'm good. How you doing, brother?
Oh, great, man. And first, I want to commend you with regards to the statements that you made in regards to the playoffs. Very powerful statements. Obviously, Florida A&M, the trajectory of the program is off the charts. And I just wanted to ask, what are some of the needs going into the offseason for the Rattlers?
We need to catch Jackson. That's what we need to do. We need to figure out a way to slow that train down that's up there in Jackson, Mississippi. But no, we're going to just continue to grow the program. Obviously, recruiting is a huge part of building a program. We got to do some things differently, from the administrative side and resources to, provide the best opportunities for our guys, off the field, in the classroom, and just continue to work extremely hard, to chase that pantheon that is a SWAC and Celebration Bowl championship. So, we can't rest on our laurels. Yes, the program is in good footing right now, and everyone's excited about where we are, but we can't stop here because there's definitely more on the horizon.
No doubt. I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you. Great season.
Thank you, Charles.
Last question goes to Ken Rashad.
Coach, I do want to piggyback on your response with respect to catching Jackson, with respect to recruiting. I do want to ask, and I've asked a couple of other questions, coaches the same question. With the transfer portal having the impact that it's currently having right now with recruiting, how much will you rely upon recruiting players from it as opposed to the more traditional method of recruiting players out of high school, which over the course of their career requires a little bit more development?
I think recruiting is about assessing your needs and addressing those needs. And so, the transfer portal isn't a new, it isn't a new creation. Young men have always been able to transfer, it's particularly down to FCS. And so, Billy Joe made a living signing Power 5 and Group of 5 transfers, during his time here. And so it's not a new phenomenon to bring players from 4-year programs. I think the trick is to assess what your immediate needs are, and maybe the older guys can address those needs, and then see where you need more development, and then look to the high school ranks for that development. So I don't think there's one cookie cut answer. I think there's some teams that we play against in the SWAC that are probably going to need to hit the portal harder than we are, possibly. We have a lot of returning guys. We only lose, a handful of guys off this year's team. And so I think it's strategic, and every year is different. We went heavy in the portal last year, more than we ever have, but that doesn't mean we're going to do the same thing this year. So there's no right and wrong answer to that. I think it's all subjective to what your needs are, and we'll assess our needs to see which direction we go in relation to high school versus transfer recruiting.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Coach Simmons, can we get one more question in real quick?
Yes, sir.
Okay, appreciate it, Coach. Last question goes to Keith Hadley.
Hey, Coach, sorry for not asking this question earlier. I wanted to ask the question, do we understand where the breakdown was between the NCAA from the point of FAMU potentially hosting the playoff game to being left out of the playoffs altogether?
I'm not sure. I'm not privy to those conversations, so that's probably more of an administrative question with my AD, Michael Smith, the interim AD, or our president, even Dr. Larry Robinson. We knew that on our end we had to go win a football game. That's what we did. So, those conversations are had at a high level than we are as coaches, and I don't know. I can't answer that to where the breakdown occurred.
Thank you, Coach.
Sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each Monday during the season, and we look forward to speaking with you at SWAC Football Media Day.
Thank you, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. God bless.
Thanks, Coach. Next, we go to Arkansas Pine Bluff. Head Coach Don Treadwell. Do see that we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
Coach, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, obviously no game this past Saturday as you prepare for the Turkey Day Classic against Alabama State. So if you could just start us out with an opening statement recapping this past week for your team.
Well, on the bye week, there's always that fine line, and you're trying to measure how much do you do and making sure you don't do too little. So to make a long story short, we gave the young men a couple of days off, certainly after the last game in particular. And then, started fresh maybe about midweek there. And like most weeks, Sunday, yesterday was off for them. And we'll hit it again today. Today's kind of like a Wednesday, Thursday combination. Tomorrow will be a true Thursday type practice. And then we hit the road on Wednesday to head to Alabama State.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. You talked about the preparation for this week, where there are some injuries that some players maybe being able to heal and get back on the field, or are those injuries the type that were season-ending type of injuries?
I think anytime you have that bye week, it does lend itself to allowing, young men that, and it doesn't even have to be an injury, but just, the normal bumps and bruises and the wear and tear of a season, as you guys know, man, in a physical conference that we play in, it can wear on the body a little bit. So I think it would be more so just the young men that have continuously played and performed, game after game, just giving them a couple of days that you were able to do or afforded to do because of a somewhat of a bye week. It's not a full bye week, as we know, because we do play on Thursday, but I do think that does help. And even from a mental standpoint, as you guys know, the season can certainly take a little bit of a toll. It's sometimes nice to be able to sit back and take a breath of fresh air and then kind of come back in and refocus as you move forward.
Follow-up question will be, when you took over, you talked about the fact that you need really a off-season. Any coach needs an off-season to really change significantly that you do on the football field, whether it's offensive, defensive, even special teams. But with a little more time and being able to see some things over the last couple of games, do you have the ability to make a couple of key changes that you think are helpful in this game? Or do you just kind of have to push through and really do what you have tried to do best for your team previously?
Well, I'll give you credit. The question you asked, you answered it pretty well, okay? Because it's a combination of really what you just said. It really is.
Thank you.
There's that fine line where you don't want to, disrupt the apple cart to a degree, because certainly the kids have, been ingrained a little bit, if you can imagine, for, a couple of years now in a certain system, especially offensively. And so you just are a little bit careful you're going to tweak some things, don't get me wrong, because you still want to keep growing the team. And we've done a little bit of that, each week and trying to do that. But we've also kept to the base a little bit of at least what they know and hopefully what they can execute. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for is the production of Saturday, them playing confidently. And most coaches will tell you they play a lot more confident when they know what they're doing.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Treadwell, I hope you and the fellas are well. Talk a little bit about going into the Hornets' nest, if you will, Thanksgiving game, the challenges Alabama State presents and what that can look like?
Well, one thing we've learned, just being in this conference, and now that I've been in it, about maybe 2.5 seasons, if you will, with the COVID time, is every week presents a challenge. One of the wonderful things about our conference is it's very competitive. So that being said, every game, you have to get up for, number one, as a coaching staff and certainly as players. And as you guys know, anytime you're playing away, that also, can present a challenge, but it also should be something that our young men should look forward to as we go. Looking at Alabama State, because, you've had a couple of extra days, that type of thing. I know defensively, they certainly feel our defensive staff that they have their hands full because, number one, like any offensive team, if your quarterbacks are special, you got a chance for the rest of the offense to be special. And they have a couple of really, dynamic in our eyes quarterbacks. So that in itself presents a challenge because, you're not just one-sided. Both those young men, if they rotate in a QB, are able to hurt you with their arm and their feet. So that's a big challenge defensively. I think on the other side of the ball, offensively, our offensive staff has said a number of times in watching this program that, boy, they are extremely well coached defensively because they don't just present one structure of what they do. They have the ability to, I guess the word would be flexible enough that if one thing, they have a plan A and a plan B, let's say it that way, that they're not just limiting themselves to, hey, here's the plan and it's going to work against everything. They do, in our opinion, a great job through the course of the game, adapting to what they need to do defensively. And that's easier said than done. So our hat is off to them on, how they coach their young men to be in the right positions, no matter what they're using schematically.
Coach, Skylar Perry and Mr. Britton, they're special. Just talk a little bit about your potent offense. You guys can throw it around, you can run it, and you guys have a lot of things you can do.
Well, those are certainly two of the highlighted men, that give us a little juice offensively. None of that, though, I'd be remiss if, we didn't talk about where it starts, and you guys know where I'm going with this, and that's those guys up front. And you guys had mentioned them, I think maybe three or so weeks ago about, that group kind of having been groomed a little bit more and a little more togetherness and a little more ownership and leadership, if you will. So it does start there because, as you know, you've got to create some kind of movement at the line of scrimmage to run the ball. And Kayvon would be the first. Matter of fact, I think he's always expressed that in talking to the media. His hat is off to the O-line. And by the same token, when you're looking to throw the ball, you've got to protect the quarterback. So those two things are the standard of what you're trying to do. But then, as you guys also know, a special athlete, which those two young men are, they don't always have to have everything blocked just perfectly either. They just have, I guess the word is often used, they have the ability to create. And both of them have shown that they can do that on any given day. Certainly Skylar being multiple as a quarterback who can throw and run, has legs to get you out of trouble. That's a big positive. And then Kayvon doesn't really have to have a big hole all the time. He just has the ability to make people miss just because he is a very talented young man.
Coach, in closing, is pregame meal turkey, or do you eat the turkey dinner after the game is over?
I would say for us, probably you're looking for it after, might be a little bit better than pre, so we don't load up with too many carbs there, due to the fact that we actually play on Thursday.
Thank you. Have a good week.
You guys have a great one too. Thank you.
Question goes to I.C. Morrell.
Coach Treadwell, how are you doing?
Hey, yeah, just fine. And yourself?
Just fine, sir. Thanks very much. I wanted to ask you, how much have you been in contact with athletic director Chris Robinson about the full-time position of head football coach? And what do you think, despite the 3 losses, what do you think you've been able to prove as a head coach up to this point with this program to try to get it in the right direction?
We haven't dwelt on any of that, me personally or collectively. The whole focus, as you can imagine, I think I mentioned it when we first made the change and I became interim, it's just really to be here to help our young men through this process and try to keep their focus one game at a time, one practice at a time. In order to do that, you don't want to shortchange them at all. So you've allowed, or I have, and I believe our staff has, we just have maintained the focus on the players, how we can continue just to develop them, even behind the scenes, not even just X and O wise. We've got like a lot of staffs, we've got tremendous group of men here that have invested, if you will, in these players, and they have continued to do that. So my hat is really off to our coaching staff. They continue to do that. I think I mentioned to you guys the leadership within our team, captains, the seniors, they've continued to move us forward. So we don't dwell on any of that, talk about any of it. We just keep one game at a time, and we've got a game coming up this Thursday, and that's our only focus at this time.
Coach, have you given a lot of thought that not only is this Scarlet Perry's 43rd or 44th game as a Golden Lion? I mean, boy, how many college football players get to play that many games? But this is it for him. This is a guy who's been a starter for 5 seasons. Again, 43 or 44 games that he's at least played. He's made his mark as a Golden Lion. How do you put that into words?
I don't know if you can. It's one of those that when that final game is done, I'm sure he will, and all of us that have had the privilege of working with him will, kind of sit back and, reflect, if you will. And it may not hit you right away. And you guys have all been there. We all have, when you finally hang up those college cleats and, reminisce a little bit. Sometimes that happens a little bit later. Sometimes it's a little emotional, maybe, leading into the game or after. You never know when it's going to hit you, is what I'm saying. So we just know that we're going to miss him because, boy, I tell you, and I've mentioned this to you guys, his leadership behind the scenes, his energy level. I've coached at a few different places. In my experience, when you have a leader that not only is just talented, but embraces the role of leadership, probably be a good way to say it. Skylar is one, and his positive energy is just, it permeates the whole team because he's that way every day. He doesn't take days off in terms of those leadership qualities that have given him, that role that he has earned. And we're going to miss that.
Coach, thanks very much. See you Thursday.
You bet.
Coach Treadwell, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls the past few weeks, and good luck during the off season.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, you guys. Have a great week.
Appreciate it, Coach. Happy to next go to Mississippi Valley State head coach Vincent Dancy. I do see that we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, first and foremost, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls. Coach Dancy, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Prairie View A&M.
I thought it was a great outcome for our guys. It was, senior day for, 18 young men, and we were able to send them out the right way. But I knew it was going to be tough against Coach McDowell, Prairie View team. It's been a team who's been exciting all season, explosive offense that we knew we had to contain, especially the quarterback position, probably one of the top, 3 quarterbacks in our conference, and we knew we had our hands full with that young man. But overall, man, I was very pleased at the way our guys stepped up, especially in that second quarter defensively, and then, second half with our offense being able to step up and put some points on the board to close out the victory, but also the season.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Dancy. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavil's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Just talk about your overall team being able to rush the ball for 171 yards on this team, cadre of players that were able to get it done. Talk about what they brought to the table in addition to your defense.
Oh, man. We knew we had to be physical. We knew we had to establish physicality, a physical presence up front on both sides of the ball. I thought offensively, we kind of started slow. And then I think we threw 2 early interceptions, 2 costly turnovers early. And I thought our quarterback, Jelani, man, as he normally do, he normally settles in which he did. And he took off on some key runs and made and got some key first downs for us. Jared Wilson, a transfer who hasn't really played much, but he showed that, over the course of the past 3 games that he should have been playing a lot more. And this young man toted the ball, carried the ball well for us, and he ran hard, physical. And I thought when we established that physical presence, especially on both sides of the ball, because defensively we gave up a lot. that first drive in the run game. And we just weren't physical enough up front. And so once we settled in and established that physicality, I thought we can, dominate up front. And that's kind of what we did.
Follow-up question in terms of just continue to play. Your team plays with a physicality that you talk about. No quit, no stop action. At the end of the game, your team continued to play like that and pushed all the way to get the last touchdown. Is that part of the mentality that you're building in this team, that you play all the way through until 0 seconds left in the clock?
Yeah, Doc. That's just who we are. That's who I am. That's what I preach to these young men. Because at the end of the day, life is not going to be easy. It's not going to go all, how you want it to go. And I just want them to understand that, man, whatever you do, you finish. You never quit. You always finish strong through the ups, through the downs. Tough time don't last long. Tough people do. That's our mode. That's our mentality. That's who we are at the Valley. Things are not going to be easy here. It's not a tough place. It's a tough place to live. It's a tough place to be for these young men. But hey, man, at the end of the day, you got an opportunity to come to a Division I program and showcase your talent. And that's what I preach to them. And man, that's just who we are. We never quit. We could have easily tucked our tails and, just gave up on the whole season early. But man, that's not who we are. It's not the program that I want to run. That's not the kind of people that I want to be around. I want to be around hard-nosed people who understand that, man, this is life, man. Life is going to throw you some curveballs, but it's all about how you finish. And man, that's exactly what I instill in these young men. Because after this, man, 18 of those guys got to go into a workforce. And working is not easy. You're not gonna like you may not like your boss. You may not even like the job that you have at the moment. But one thing you have to do, you have to finish and you have to provide. And that's who we are here at the Valley, man. And that's the kind of program that I want to have.
Obviously, didn't have the total season that you wanted, but as you said, you sent the seniors out the right way. So I want to say congratulations on that victory. Particularly with all the momentum that Prairie had going into the game on the line. You played a team that had a lot to play for, and your team really finished strong. So I look forward to the off season this week in terms of Thanksgiving, and
Yes,
look forward to recruiting day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc, and happy holidays too.
Thank you.
Goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody back in the Delta are well. Talk a little bit about the seniors, Jelani Eason, Mr. Caleb Johnson, and Ja'Cory Rankin. And there's a lot more gentlemen, but just those three in particular and how special they are to the Valley family.
And I'd be remiss if I left out Ronnie Thomas, man. But those guys, man, Jelani coming in, coming away from the West Coast, man, a young man that, that was at Portland State. Just wanted the opportunity, and that's one thing I tell these guys. When I'm recruiting them, I can't offer you a lot. It's not a lot of bling going on around here. It's not a lot. But one thing I can offer you is an opportunity and come in and showcase your talent here on a Division I level at an HBCU program. And as you can see, the SWAC, not only the SWAC but HBCU football is here, and it's here to last. And man, these young men get an opportunity to come and play. But Caleb Johnson, Ja'Cory Rankin, those young men been great for the Valley. Like I told them, man, we didn't finish the season how we wanted to finish it, but you guys have left unprecedented marks on this program that will last, man. And I was so happy that I could send those guys out the right way, because they've been really, really good and really, really special to this program. Caleb Johnson, man, I mean, everybody know what that young man brings to the playing field. But not only that, those guys are graduates as well. They've all graduated. They came back to play their last year's grad. So man, I'm super proud. They could have easily, jumped in the transfer portal and went elsewhere and played for somebody else, but they wanted to finish it here. Despite the circumstance, they wanted to finish here at the Valley, man. And I'm super proud of them. And that's just, man, that's just the resilience of those young men to just finish where you started and go out the right way. And Ronnie Thomas, man, what a phenomenal season, 10.5 sacks. I think 10 plus, tackles for loss, man. Just another young man who didn't have a lot of offers, man. And again, the only thing I could offer was an opportunity. And he came here and he made the best of it. So, man, just super proud of those young men.
Coach, the SWAC and the state of Mississippi, the Magnolia State, three-headed monster, Valley, Jackson, and also Alcorn. But in your case, it's all about the Delta Devils. Talk a little bit about MVSU and again, why it's a special place.
Oh man, I think because it's the only school sits right off a main highway right here off 82 in the heart of the Delta. Was a lot of a lot of people that look like us that lives here, man. And it's just a special place. It's a small institution, young institution at that, 1950. So it's just a special place, man. And just thankful to be here, man. Thankful for the opportunity that they gave me as a young head coach, 33 years old, man. I'm blessed. And just I just appreciate, the opportunity at hand. I think it can be a gold mine here. I think it's a lot of things that if we change and do the right thing and provide for these young men and young women here, especially in athletics, man, it can be a special place, and it could be a great institution for athletics, and it just start with resources, and then we can, come up with the way to, to build this program the right way and build a program, like I always say, man, it can be a special place here in Mississippi in the Delta.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week. Enjoy your turkey dinner and your holidays and your off season.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Hill, and same to you.
Last question goes to Zach McKinnell.
How you doing, Coach? Zach McKinnell from the Blue Bloods.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Not too bad. You guys outscored PV 27-0 in the second half. What were the biggest differences between the first half performance and the second half, and what changes did you guys make at halftime that led to that huge second half y'all had?
Well, I thought in the first quarter, man, they came out with more intensity. They had more energy than we did that first quarter. They just took the ball and they ran it down our necks on the first drive, and it was just two adjustments that we made defensively. Only two. Just I got on them real good. That was one, and then the second one was just closing in some gaps that I knew that they was running the ball in. And defensively, we stepped it up. We made some big time plays, man. We caused 4 turnovers, and I think 3 of them were just fumbles on some big time hits from our guys, and a pick 6 later. But offensively, just came in and talked to our guys, and talked to the quarterback and told him, I'm gonna ride it out with you, man. This is your last year. Don't worry about the interceptions that were thrown. I'm not worried. Don't you be worried. You go out here and lead this team like I know you can. And we gonna carry you gonna carry us on your back, and we're gonna ride you. And he went out and executed well. But the running game picked both sides became more physical after the halftime. I came in and talked to him and told him this is it, guys. This is it. 18 seniors, man. You guys don't want to go out like this at home. And so they just came out and played hard-nosed football, what we do. And we were able to, knock off a very good PV team, man. That's a good football team and got great talent on that team. And just sometimes the most talented don't always win. So, I was super proud of our guys by the way they finished strong.
Thank you, Coach, and congrats on the win this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dancy, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each Monday during the season. We look forward to speaking with you at SWAC Football Media Day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys, and happy holiday to you all. You guys stay blessed, man, and look forward to speaking to you guys more.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next up, we go to Prairie View A&M head coach Bubba McDowell. You see that we have Coach there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, everybody.
Coach McDowell, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Mississippi Valley State.
Well, I thought we came out and, again, I've said all year long, I mean, you got to come out and play every week, here in the SWAC, because if you don't, a team that you think not good, beat you, a team that you think that you should beat, is going to beat you. And again, you just got to come out and play football, 4 quarters of football every week, guys. Because if you don't, then you're it's most likely you're gonna come up on the losing end, and that's what we did this past weekend. My hats off to Coach Dancy, man. He had them guys going the second half. He said it. I mean, you can't put it no plainer than they just out physical us the second half. Our guys did not want to play. We started making mistakes, turnovers during the course of that second half, and then we couldn't recover. We had situation where we had them stop, could have had them stop. Third down, we miss an all-out blitz, and and the player didn't make the play. And we gotta make sure those guys make those plays. We talk about it all the time. When the opportunity presents itself, we got to make those plays, whether it's offense, or defense, or special team. We went out there. Turnovers, they killed us, in that second half. Interception, 2 fumbles. When we got a drive going on third down, we got the first down, Trezon scramble, and, got 2 first downs. Then, boom, they got called back due to one holding, and both of them holding. So it was a situation where it just went straight downhill, straight left second half. And I truly believe, as Coach Dancy said, man, they just out physical us that second half. And if you play against a physical team, you let them out physical you, and you make mistakes, the result's going to be not so good in your favor. And that's what happened. The kids again tried everything to get them up in the second half. They knew what was at stake, but again, we just didn't come out and we did not execute. We didn't take advantage of certain situation, in my opinion, offensively that we should have. But, that's neither here nor there. We didn't. The game is over. It's done. If we blessed to get another opportunity, we will make those corrections going forward.
Appreciate those comments, Coach McDowell. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Bill's Inside HBCU Sports. You pretty much broke it down with your synopsis there. One thing I wanted to think about, and it's probably hard to really reflect on this when you look at the ultimate end of the game score, but the defense only gave up 264 yards. Obviously, key third down conversion rates that were allowed by the defense was probably tough, but the overall play, and to get 2 interceptions was solid in terms of the defense. And the offense wasn't able to quite get the momentum to take advantage of what the defense were doing, other than allowing third down conversion rate higher than probably what you would like. Talk a little bit about your defense playing solid overall, but maybe not enough to get the victory.
Absolutely, Kenyatta. And again, we played well defensively, but again, situation where we should have made plays and got off in third down, we didn't do it, and it ended up costing us. And we gotta, we're a better team than that. And I'm not making any excuses. I thought going into this game it was still in our favor to win. Just because of the way we've been playing. All year long. I mean, I know we've been a team that was up and down, and again, it's nothing against Dancy and his team, because we know, as I said, I mean, you gotta have guys play the game of football, and that's what they do out there. Every week in practice, every week during the game. But you gotta have guys make plays. We put guys in position to make plays, Kenyatta, and they didn't make it, but the other team did, and they came out victorious, man.
2-part question. One is overall philosophy in terms of taking over the program, and the mental capacity in terms of, like you said, playing up all the way through games, all the way through the season. Is that something that you're able to integrate in the team in terms of coaching, bringing in different things to motivate students, or is that a recruiting thing that you can do to recruit a certain type of student athlete? And is that something that you can even see or somehow analyze, or is that something that you, over a period of time, you just realize just happened? Is the first part of the question. The second part is, along with that mental part of it, as you said, there's still a chance. How do you make sure that this team stays in a way that if things work out, that they are headed to a championship game, and they're not just all of a sudden back up to it, that they're working all the way through for whatever may happen in terms of the Bayou Classic this weekend?
Yeah, first one again. I think it's a combination of all that. Again, off season, during the season, you're bringing people in to talk, motivate these kids. Because again, sometimes you got to switch it up. Kids get tired of hearing from the coaching staff as a whole. So you got to bring certain people or groups or however you deem to do it to motivate the kids and as well as recruiting. You got to go out there and recruit those guys that that want to play football and come into a university and not only get an education but just play football, be coachable and go out and play every down as if it's your last down, and I think Coach Robinson said it earlier. You got to be able to relate to these young guys, young kids these days. They're a different group than when we came up in the system. And again, I agree with him. You show these kids that that you care about them, that you love them, that you're ready to teach them not only the football aspect of the game but life itself. They're gonna play for you. So yeah, it's a combination of all that. How to get them motivated. If we have that chance to go and play again after this weekend game. It's all on me. And I got some things that I want to do to implement going into this week as well. We're going to go out, as I told them last night on the Zoom call, we're going to go out and play as if we get ready to go out and play another game. So we're going to go at practice Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before the holidays, and before we let them off. It ain't no different. We've been in this position before, and here we are again. So now we just got to go out, and practice, the way we know how to practice. Practice if we're gonna go out and get ready to play a football game and win a football game at the same time. But again, it's all on them, and that's one thing I want to make sure that they was okay from the game. So that's why I called the meeting last night and making sure that they stay together. Because if they don't stay together, we have no chance.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck the rest of the season in terms of a favorable outcome. With that said, I look forward to the off season and working with you and speaking with you, particularly during signing day.
Absolutely, bro. Happy holidays.
You too. Happy holidays.
Last question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. Football season is always an emotional roller coaster, and you guys after Saturday are kind of on the downturn of that. What are going to be the emotions, or what kind of are the emotions now, knowing you're not in control of your own destiny, have to wait for outcome of another game to determine whether or not you're going to play again?
I mean, emotions are down, but again, that's on me and the coaching staff to get these guys back and ready to go again. As I told them last night, we got to go and prepare as if we're going to go and play another game. So again, you going out there this week and just kind of going through the motion is not going to get it. You got to go out and as if you are getting ready to go play for a game, and play for a championship and try to win it. It's just simple as that. If those guys buy into that, we're going to be okay. I mean, we're going to be okay. If the outcome plays in our favor, we'll have them ready. I promise you that, because again, I'm not a guy to sit back and, and say, woe me, when the situation is done, we got to correct it. And that's what we're going to do starting today and starting preparing Tuesday and Wednesday before they take a break and then come back and resume the responsibilities of them dudes getting on that field and being ready. I keep reiterating, getting ready to play a football game.
Real quick, as the season goes on, there's always some opportunities where you can nitpick the outcome of certain games that could decide your season. You guys lost at the end to Alcorn State in overtime. You guys had a tough finish this past Saturday. If you guys don't make the SWAC championship game, will you look back on some of those opportunities as kind of like, if you had done this or that, we could have been in a different position?
Yeah, but we're not gonna worry about that until it's all said and done, until the fat lady sings. She ain't sung yet,
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
We sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each Monday, and look forward to speaking with you potentially as soon as next week, and if not, at SWAC Football Media Day.
Thank you, sir. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks, Coach. Next, we go to Southern University. Head coach Eric Dooley. You see that we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, I do see that you're in transit, so definitely appreciate you taking some time to On the media session with us, Coach Dooley. If you could, obviously, last week, this past Saturday, as you prepare for the Bayou Classic. So if you could just start us out, kind of recapping this past week.
Well, I had an opportunity just to just get some work in, not playing the game, and get some guys back that been banged up. We know we're in the final weeks of the season, so very tough. But just have an opportunity just to get Southern University better because we know this is a huge game when you talk about the Bayou Classic. So things went well for us this past week. Just a little cold outside, but we weathered the storm, and now we're getting prepared for the 49th Bayou Classic.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Dooley. First question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody in the Jags Nation are well. When you look at the Bayou Classic, tell us what you see, because you see it from both sides, whether it be Grambling or Southern, but right now you see it from the Southern side. Tell us about this game.
Well, it's a huge game. I like to say the granddaddy of them all. When you talk about the Bayou Classic, you're talking about two in-state rivals that's very, very familiar. You got some households that have both that lives inside. One graduated from Southern, one graduated from Grambling. So, the house is going to be divided for a whole week. So we know the magnitude of it, but it's just an event that I think it's bigger than a football game. It's bigger than a football game. It actually helps both institutions as well as the communities within the city of New Orleans.
Coach Marino Cassim, as well as the late, great Eddie Robinson, both of those gentlemen, and yourself, just talk a little bit about being a part of those coaches inside the dome playing in this game.
But, I feel blessed and fortunate to have had the opportunity to play for Eddie Robinson, who we know is a legend, and then play for a coach with a living legend when you talk about Pete Richardson and being under the likes of Marino Cassim. So it's been something that I guess I could never imagine. But, I always like to say it, and it's always going to be with me. God is good.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week and enjoy your turkey dinner.
You too. Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavills, inside the HBCU Sports Lab. First, Coach Dooley, be careful out there. With that being said, also, looking sharp, I need to make sure I get your Taylor name. Yes, share the wealth, brother. God is good.
Yes, sir.
In all seriousness, obviously a lot of momentum is on this game. Things, as you said, worked out in your favor. Is there such thing that this game can get any bigger? It's already, a rivalry game. It's already going to be big. But now, as it seems to be for so many years, it will decide, at least on one side, who will end up playing in a championship game. Is there anything differently you do because of the outcome that came last week versus how you were going to come into this game to be prepared for the game this Saturday?
The one thing about myself, once we scratch where it itch at, we're going to do what we do. And I think that's what you got to always do. You can't try to reinvent a wheel within a week or two. You got to do what's been successful for you. And I think a lot of times, we make mistakes, think we have to do some things that's out of the ordinary. I just think we got to do what we got to do. We just got to correct where our downfalls have been and get better at that situation.
Follow-up question is more just a mental philosophy question in terms of that. Obviously, you have strong relationships with coaches that are over there at Prairie View, along with the players. But now you're dedicated to Southern University, the coaches, administration, fans, and players there. How do you go through that mental ups and downs about, hey, this is not necessarily good for Prairie View, but all of a sudden it's a great opportunity for Southern? Do you compartmentalize that as a coach? Do you have to deal with that? Or are you just singularly focused about moving forward?
And that's why I like some of the things that, we as a coaching staff that we come up with, and myself, I like that acronym WIN. What's important now? What's important now, right now, that we play this Bayou Classic and execute at a high level. So that acronym goes a long way. Everybody look at it as win. You're talking about winning games. No, what's important now? What's important now that we get Southern University prepared to play a great football team and within a good classic.
Coach, much respect. Good luck this weekend. Looking forward to seeing as you move forward, and certainly as we get into the off season for recruiting. Look forward to talking to you then, if not before then, for the championship game.
Thanks, Doc.
Last question goes to Dwayne Nash.
How's it going, Coach?
Going well.
Yeah, this is Dwayne Nash with the Yard HBCU Sports and the Hero Sports. Just one question for you. Don't know if you knew this, but this is the 25th anniversary of Coach Robinson's retirement from Grambling. Can you talk about that? If you knew that that was the case, and your feelings on that going into this celebration about this Bayou Classic this weekend, being that you played for Grambling and now you coach at Southern.
Well, I remember a lot of things. I've learned throughout my years, and my very first Bayou Classic, coaching at Southern University as an assistant coach, I had the opportunity of walking through the tunnel with my wife and my daughter, and I bumped into Eddie Robinson, Coach Robinson, and we had the opportunity to talk. And the one thing that's been sticking with me ever since then that I never let leave my side, he said, never let them beat you. So that I understood what that meant, regardless of who you playing, regardless of who coached you, regardless of what the situation is, you got to prepare the team that you with to win. So I understand clearly, there's no question about it, because I know Coach Robinson was a winner. So it doesn't matter, and that's what he produced, winners. So regardless of what situation you're in, you got to go out and execute and get the job done.
All right, thanks so much, Coach, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Coach Dooley, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each week this season. We look forward to potentially speaking with you again as early as next week, and if not, it's SWAC Football Media Day.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Coach. Next, we go to Texas Southern and head coach Clarence McKinney. You see that we have Coach McKinney there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach McKinney, as always, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each Monday. If you could please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing versus Alabama A&M.
Yeah, not the outcome that we would have liked. Tough outing. I thought we played extremely well for about 55 minutes of the game. Controlled the game early on. Got an injury to our quarterback late in the game, and Alabama A&M got the momentum, and we couldn't stop them. So the outcome of the game went in their favor and not ours.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach McKinney. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Dr. Cavill inside the HBCU Sports Lab. You talked about being right in that game and controlling it. And a lot of that was your ability to run the ball. Talk about as a total team in this particular game, how you were able to effectively run the ball for most of the game.
Yeah, I think up front, our O-line did really well. Really good job of controlling the line of scrimmage. We added some things where we added a few more QB runs to gain a hat in the block scheme. And I think we were successful in being able to do those things.
Follow-up question is about Andrew Body. Obviously, we saw and heard that it was a tough injury. Can you speak any way in terms of how he's doing?
Not exactly sure how he's doing. He's at the doctor as we speak, and we're waiting to get a report from them.
Well, certainly prayers for him, all players that were injured in this case. Wish them the best. And other than the last 5 minutes of the game, very strong season. So congratulations to continue to build the program moving forward. Have a
Thank
good
you,
break.
Doc. Yes, sir. You do the same.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the guys are well. Talk a little bit about the program you're building. You continue to, put guys in a position to earn an education and also win some football games. But just take us into your program right now.
As you know, we started a few years ago with a young group of guys that are growing up as we speak. This will be my first class of guys that I signed that will be graduating but continuing with their education. Guys are starting to graduate, which is, you're a student before an athlete. So that's why we call them student athletes, and that's the thing that we're most proud of. We're starting to win games. We've won more each season we've been here, and we feel like we laid a foundation, and we're trying to catch up with the elite teams in the SWAC, and we hope to think that we're closing the gap.
Coach, what are your takeaways from your last contest as you move forward?
We need to improve in all facets of the game. We need to go out and recruit some guys that can come in and help us immediately, as well as we need to go out and recruit some guys that we can develop and grow and into our own. And so we feel like we're a program on the incline, and we just want to continue to go in that direction.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward, and have a great holiday week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You do the same.
Next question goes to Zach McKinney.
Zach McKinney, the Blue Bloods. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How's it going, Zach?
Good. So we talked at SWAC Media Day about how young this team was. As you've seen the growth and maturity of this team throughout the season, who are some players that came into the year a little bit inexperienced, younger, that really emerged as leaders for your team this season?
Well, our leader is our quarterback. If Andrew, he stepped on the campus as a true freshman and took over the leadership reins. But the other guys that stepped up to lead are a guy like Isaiah Hamilton, who's a sophomore as well, and he let his play speak for itself. But when he's out there and he talks, the rest of the guys listen. And then you get another young guy in our D-line who was voted by his teammates on our leadership council, and Mike Akins. And so he's a guy who works extremely hard. He leads by example, and he's also a vocal leader, and he's been able to play well. So guys tend to respect those guys that perform.
Thank you, Coach, and I hope you have a good offseason. Look forward to talking to you next season.
Thank you, Zach. You do the same.
Next question goes to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash with the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Your program has most definitely progressed since you've gotten there. Matter of fact, you guys have the best record that the program has ever had, that the program has had since 2014. Can you talk about that progression and what is the one word that would best describe your season this year and why?
Well, as far as the progression goes, I think it has a lot to do with our staff and our program's development of young talent. We recruited really well for a couple years. Now you're starting to see those guys that we recruit have developed and start to grow and bring some wins to the program. As far as one word for our program and our situation, I don't know if I can put it in just one word, but I probably would say resilience. Our guys come to work every day. They work extremely hard. They don't quit no matter what the situation is. And we're just a group of fighters, and we're going to fight to the end.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Brandon King.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning, Brandon. Well, how about you?
Good deal. Good deal. Doing well. This question is kind of be off the beaten path a little bit. Had a conversation with Tennessee State coach Eddie George earlier in the week, and as you know, the two schools haven't played in about 40 years, and I asked if he was open to kind of resuming that series between the two schools and kind of, something I would term, maybe a battle of the TSUs. Kind of getting it from your perspective, how open would you be to the two schools with the same letters getting it on again?
I'm all for it. If it's something that's going to bring a lot of people out to the games and give two HBCUs an opportunity to get some exposure, I say let's do it.
Absolutely. Let's talk some people and make that happen. With Coach, like I said, I know you didn't get quite the end that you wanted to your season, but nonetheless, congratulations on the season. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving to you and the family, and have a great off season.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys.
Coach McKinney, we sincerely appreciate your time on these calls each Monday, and we look forward to speaking with you and seeing you at SWAC Football Media Day.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, Coach. Good morning, Coach.
How's everyone doing?
Doing great, Coach. How are you, sir?
Awesome, awesome. Wonderful game last week. Alcorn came to play. I would have thought nothing less. Like I will reiterate, Coach McNair is second to none in my book. He's a wonderful human being, a great coach, and his team was ready to play. Great atmosphere. My God, that was an unbelievable atmosphere. I was excited just to drive in because I've heard so much about it. It was a tremendous journey, just going from here to there and seeing the fans and just seeing the people, just seeing the support from both schools was tremendous in the play, and that is like a bowl that was unbelievable. Great, it was a great game too. No one disappointed. Either team did not disappoint. Of course, we proved their record. Offense didn't play worth a darn. Defense are who they are. Continue to be first in total defense in FCS, in passing, in scoring, third downs, first downs allowed, total sacks. Unbelievable. Of course, Travis played a great game offensively and defensive. We got to figure out how we could get him the ball or more touches offensively, defensively. Bounce back after giving up a couple balls as well. And I love that about him. He didn't flinch whatsoever when I talked to him about what he was doing to allow a couple of those completions. He did not flinch, but it was a great contest. I'm happy that we could move on and we could, we had a great practice today. We're going to have another great practice tomorrow. Then I'm going to cut the young men loose and let them go enjoy their families. And we'll be back Saturday evening for practice on Sunday.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Morning, Coach. How you doing?
How you doing, boss?
I want to ask a little bit. I know you preach dominate as one of the themes, and I want to ask a little bit about the offense. It's been a struggle over, despite the wins, it's been a struggle over the past couple of weeks. But just talk a little bit about trying to get the guys refocused and locked back in for the SWAC championship game.
Well, you got to understand also we're missing our starting left tackle, so we kind of playing some games with the offensive line. But people are just a lot more prepared for us offensively. You got to understand it's not easy. I know it seems as though it's easy to go out there and win week in and week out and play to a high level week in and week out, but it's tremendously not that darn easy as it may seem. But offensively, we just got to get it going. I focused on 7 plays after I watched the tape that Sunday morning, and several plays here and there, cut here and there, better read by the backs. Receivers get open and fight a little more. Shador not taking just stupid sacks. It's a whole different game, but that's a tribute to how Alcorn played. So I can't speak negatively on that because they forced us into some of those things. But thank God we have a defense that can play the way they play.
Speaking of the defense, Justin Reagan, he had 3 sacks in this game. But talk a little bit about him and his maturation as a football player.
He is unbelievable. So funny that at the end of practice, he's a little banged up. So at the end of practice, he chooses to do sit-ups or whatever the trainer has him do, and the guys got on his butt. I mean, the fight almost broke out at the conclusion of practice last week because they felt like you could practice all during practice long, then you wait to the end and want to do some sit-ups. That ain't good. So we got on their butts. We talked it out as a defense, and he understood that's not going to happen no more. But he went out there and played his butt off because his teammates was on him about that.
No doubt. Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Bill's Inside HBCU Sports Lab.
Yes,
Speak
sir.
with you, Coach. You talked about from the very beginning that Travis Hunter, he's the real deal. He's different. He showed up and showed out loud, on both sides of the ball with the pick reception. Played solid on defense in terms of them even to go his way, which is a different thought process. And then the fact that touchdown catch he made about being able to get his foot in I'm not sure if there's something you can coach. The player has the ability to do that or not. Just tell me a little bit more about Travis Hunter. What makes him so special?
Travis loves the game. Travis prepares for the game. Travis is a very confident individual. He likes the challenges, and he's performing against ego. You got to understand, we had two quarterbacks the last 2 weeks. You could easily go on the other side of the field and throw the ball, but ego is going to have them say, I'm not going away from Travis Hunter. I'm going to throw the ball to Travis Hunter. And it don't make sense to me. Like you have a whole other side of the field, but you got to still ego makes you throw the ball at Travis Hunter, which I know what it comes from. It comes from the homies and the teammates all doing the week. Man, you going to try him? Yeah, I'm going to try him. You know, we ain't scared of him. And you see the results of what they get. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, Travis always give you an opportunity. 50-50 balls, he's going to win. If he has a little separation, he's going to make the play. He's going to make the tough catch, or he's going to get a PI. And oftentimes, they know the ball is coming to him. We don't always put him out there and throw it to him unless he's open or it's a one-on-one. You got to give him an opportunity. But the kid is just dynamic. He's truly dynamic, and I can't wait until really to conclude this season and to see him in a full season when he's truly healthy. He's still limping a little bit, banged up a little bit, not at full speed, but he's still Travis Hunter.
Wow.
And we know how to use him.
Thank you, Coach. Quick follow.
I'm sorry, I don't know if any other place would use him the way we use him. Yeah, I don't know if he would have had that luxury to be used in the manner that we use Travis.
I'm glad you put, because it's important for a lot of people to understand.
Yeah, it is. And
other side of the ball.
Yeah.
Exactly. Other side of the ball, defensively, team is like they do what they do, and a lot of that is led by many players, but it seems like the senior is really stepping up and getting it done. He had a big game. Talk a little bit about what is he doing in his maturation from last year to this year.
Who's that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name.
Aubrey Miller.
Oh, Aubrey, Geronte Davis had 12 tackles. Reagan's 3 sacks. Who else? Excuse me?
Aubrey had 11 tackles.
Yeah, I'm saying, but Geronte had 12 tackles.
Yeah.
What I'm saying on the other, I'm not diminishing. I'm just giving you a roll.
No,
call.
You're right. It was a full team effort.
Oh, God. Come on, 42.
Brown.
Jeremiah had a couple sacks, didn't he? A sack?
He had the strip fumble.
Strip fumble. Yeah, I mean, so it's a collective effort, but none of that works unless we're covering. I mean, we're covering. We have some pretty good DBs. I know they catch balls here and there on us, and they should, but shoot. Let's give it to Dennis Thurman, man. This is the second consecutive year that Coach Thurman and that whole defensive staff, which I is unbelievable to me. I see it every day, that they find a way to get it done in spite of. I mean, sometimes the offense has been, we've spearheaded the attacks and we've been dominant, but oftentimes defenses are the ones being dominant. And Aubrey does his part and then some. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. But I'm gonna tell you something, man, and this is not taking nothing away from Aubrey, and I want to reiterate that. You could close your eyes in our defensive linebacker room and grab one of those guys, and they're gonna come on to play. And not only are they gonna come to play, they're gonna know their responsibilities, and they're very mature and smart football players. Coach Hart does a phenomenal job with his linebacker room.
Congratulations on the undefeated regular season.
Thank you.
Enjoy the holiday break. I know you'll be working on the team, and I'll see you in Jackson for the SWAC championship game. Congratulations.
Amen. It's supposed to be great weather, hopefully.
Exactly.
Last question goes to Zach McKinney.
How you doing, Coach? You guys had the SWAC's leading rusher this weekend, held him to under 100 yards, held Alcorn to less than 2 yards per carry. Can you just talk about what you guys saw on film and what y'all did to shut down one of the top rushing attacks in the conference?
Well, we want to force them to throw the football. We're going to put 7, 8 in the box and force them to throw the football. When you're running against a stacked box like that, it's tough on any back. That's not taking anything away from him because that kid can flat out play. Matter of fact, let me give this guy some love. I don't know if it's number 17, the cornerback, one of their cornerbacks. That kid can play. And I think he was their left corner. That kid can play. That kid, I don't know what year he is.
18?
I don't know what number. It was a team. The kid could play. I know the kid could play. But shoot, we just stacked the box and forced them to throw the football. And they had a couple runs that were successful, but overall we knew then when they start rotating quarterbacks, that's a good sign.
And Coach, a quick follow-up. Savion hit the 1,000-yard mark. Can you talk about how he has established himself as the lead running back for this team throughout the season and what that means for him to hit that mark this year?
Yeah, first of all, he's a great kid. You're talking about a character kid, a kid that exemplifies smart, tough, fast, discipline. He hits all those and check all those boxes with character. Comes to work every day, and practices his butt off. We never hear no negativity from him, never cries about the football. He's a little banged up. I think he is, I hate to say it, but he's bunions or whatever. I don't know how a kid that old is dealing with bunion problems. I thought that was an old man kind of thing. But his feet was hurting a little bit in the game, and I could tell because he missed some darn cuts that he normally hit. But that kid is phenomenal. Let me tell you something. We have several kids on the team that I feel like are pros, and he is certainly one of them. I feel like he's a pro waiting to be birthed into the NFL sooner or later.
Thank you, Coach, and congratulations on the undefeated regular season.
Thank you all. I want you all to have a wonderful. Let me add this. I heard my dear friend Willie Simmons put it down on here earlier today, and he is absolutely right. I mean, the statistics that he gave, and I hate to call out these schools, but he's 100% correct, and I support him 100% because he is very factual. When he starts spitting it, he spits it factually. And the kid, I mean, what they did this year, and to go back from being on to it and to come back and run the table, shoot, come on. Why not? I don't, is it closed that they can't allow a HBCU team in or a team with that record that he substantiated that this team, fam, you should be in the darn playoffs? Unbelievable. I don't know how that works. I don't know how this playoff system works. I know people keep asking us, why would we? And now you see why. I would rather go to the Celebration Bowl or have some other form or fashion of how this stuff is manufactured, how they select the teams. I don't know how, fam, you could not be in the FCS playoffs. I have no idea, but I know Coach Simmons put it down, and I support him 100%.
Coach Sanders is
the SWAC coaches. Excuse me.
As always, we sincerely appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. Some of y'all.
Thanks, Coach. This concludes our SWAC football media session for Monday, November 21st. We will get the Zoom recording